So this comment about Pastor Hinn's stage persona reminded me of the first impression I had when I started watching Pastor Hinn's videos early in my Christian walk. But before I read the comment, let's watch the videos first.
Take it! Take it! Take it! Take it! Showing hands quick. Showing hands, I said quick. Take that order!
So this is what the person wrote. I used to watch Benny every morning when I was first born again. I didn't like his stage persona, but I loved listening to his teaching when he was off stage in the studio. I got a lot of encouragement out of it in the early days of my Christian walk, which was 25 years ago. So many people have this impression about Pastor Hinn's stage persona. Some argue that he is self-promotional and overly dramatic, which is perceived as being manipulative of people. Others feel he is very controlling. Others feel he is very abusive in the name of anointing when he is on stage, probably because of how he commands people around and how he demonstrates and how he talks to people and all of that. In those early Christian walk, early Christian journeys, when I saw Pastor Hinn's videos and I saw the way he talked to people, in as much as in one way I love the move of God and the anointing, but there is this kind of, I ask myself, like, but is a Christian supposed to act this way? Is he supposed to talk to people like that? Is he supposed to shout at them like that? Probably the command. I couldn't reconcile that. In one way I kind of feel this shouldn't be so. In another way I was scared, let me not offend God by thinking what I shouldn't think, most especially about his anointed, which is a common mentality we have always had while growing up. You don't want to think negative about someone God is using. Most times the idea is your ability to balance between the gentleness and the boldness of the spirit. We have also isolated certain demonstration from even Christ himself when he spoke to another woman who needed a miracle, and he said it's not good to give the children's bread to their dogs. And then the woman said, yes Lord, even the dogs under the table eat the crumbs that fell from the table. And then Jesus also, his actions in the temple, how he flogged the money changers out. Of course one can argue, but these people in this meeting are not really like the money changers. They're just people that simply want healing miracles. Aside Pastor Benny, I've watched a lot of ministers on stage. Like, I've really watched them being harsh to people, whether they are delivering people, healing people. There's this harshness, there is this sometimes you look at those people, they are just really like scared people who really just want miracle. And there is this authority that the ministers, that I have oftentimes been confused, like, why treat the people like that? Is that a manipulative tactics? Is that something to incite fear into the people, or is it really the Spirit of God that leads them to do the people like that? I just noticed that most times when preachers do those things, the people kind of get scared and they tend to want to do anything they want. I've seen TB Joshua done that too, when delivering, commanding people out, all of that. And most times I oftentimes ask myself, is that really the Spirit of God leading that, or is the boldness of the Spirit, or is that just a tactics to incite fear into people and all of that? I would be honest to say I'm not able to still yet come to a conclusion as to why they do the things they do. I only know that there are times Christ have also been very stern and rebuking people, and that level of boldness. Of course, I've not really seen practically Jesus Christ administering deliverance. I've only seen his responses to some people certain times where he became bold. He had to, be stern when he was ordering evil spirit out. He command them. So I could say, okay, sometimes some of those sternness, those kind of boldness, they are not really addressing the people per se. Probably they are addressing the spirit behind the people. I've seen Pastor Chris also done that, I think, commanding the demons out, that boldness there. And then of course you realize, okay, they are not really talking to the individuals. Like some of these men of God, when the people have finally been delivered, you kind of see them embrace the people and then they smile at the people. So you say, okay, that response was actually done to they were addressing the spirits in the people. But then it's still a thin line between actually being abusive and at the same time exercising the authority of the Spirit. So for Pastor Benny Hinn, a lot of people have brought up that same complaint that they feel he's a bit too promotory, too self-promotional. He's been overly dramatic, he's been manipulative, he is abusing people and all of that. And the reality is, you have to be able to identify, okay, was he just doing that to the people directly, or was it in a case where evil spirits are being addressed and that sternness and harshness was commanding the spirits in whatever people that they are talking to? Or is it really just abuse of people and all of that? It's important you settle that before you come into conclusion. Of course, sometimes in Pastor Benny's meeting, is some of those actions are probably not done directly in the time when he was administering deliverance, we say, but it's actually just praying for the power of God. But of course, you cannot tell if the Spirit is showing him something behind the people and he is really addressing the people. So sometimes it's important to be able to understand these things and balance these things, so that you don't end up accusing somebody of something that he is not really guilty of. And then at the same time, you also have this challenge of sometimes you can't really tell. Most times, when people are under the anointing, when they are in the Spirit, they are emotional and they become overly excited. And most times when people are in that highly excited state, when they are on stage, most times actions can really spiral out of the control of common sense, and probably you could see some of those things. Now, I'm not saying that's the same case like in Pastor Benny's case, but there are a lot of factors, there are a lot of variables in this equation that you would have to weigh everything to be able to really balance it per se. Pastor Benny, he's a very great man of God. He's an inspiration to us, although of course sometimes we may not find some of those demonstrations on the stage, especially those ways of treating people, we may not find it comforting per se. But then at the same time, it does not rule out the fact that, well, this is a greatly anointed man. Of course, he has also admitted that sometimes he had made certain mistakes and he had done some things out of proportion, and we should be able to distinguish or differentiate between when errors are done, when people made mistakes, and you don't conclude the person is wrong because of some of the wrong choices he have done. Of course, you should also be able to see at least some of the good in what he has done so far. Now, I don't know, what are your opinions about Pastor Benny's stage persona, especially those days, those early times when he was still vibrant, and what do you think about them? And then in case there are other people that are also coming up to get into that ministry, what counsel can you give when you are delivering people? What do you think? How do you think this thing should be done? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified when we post another video like this. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.